Thank you very much. Those were great. All right. So these are some great ideas for creating happy new employees. But when thinking about these e-learning programs, you might be wondering, what about costs?
Hang on a second, Heidi. You said earlier on this mama ain't happy. This mama ain't happy. You're talking a lot about instructor-led, and definitely we need to do face-to-face. Do you promise you definitely mean that? Because as head of the training department with TWI, I'm starting to feel this is a whole webinar designed to let me know very carefully that I'm fired. You promise you're sticking with the face-to-face stuff too, as well?
Yes, Una, I promise. This is not an elaborate ruse. It's not the worst kind of telegram or something like that. So yeah, best practice with e-learning typically uses a blended approach, and we'll talk about that more. We have some statistics about it, and I promise that's what we're talking about. We're talking about enhancing learning programs rather than replacing. Yeah.
Okay,
so
good.
Thanks for asking. I don't know how you got back from backstage there, but thank you for asking. Cool. Okay, so it is true that e-learning will save money in the long run. But as we'll look at when we think about efficiency, it will save money in the long run, not by firing trainers. That's not the way it saves money. It saves money through efficiencies. So e-learning helps reduce costs while improving on the educational outcomes associated with instructor-led classroom training. They go hand in hand together, and we get better retention of what's going on in the classroom, get active application of the knowledge, and increased productivity in general. And we get the satisfied employees. And we saw earlier on that slide how when you have a satisfied stable of employees, your whole picture improves as a company. So okay, I'm going to ask you another question about your company's training program. I'm going to send you this question, ask you to rank from most optimized to least the elements of your company's training program. So this is beyond onboarding. So it's the whole training program, everything you're supposed to know in order to do your job, much of which might happen in onboarding, but not always. So we've got skills, behavior, product and service knowledge, software and systems, and compliance. Great. So folks are clearest on compliance. Interesting. Thank you. Oh, it's moving around. Software and systems is first. Great. All right. Thanks very much. Okay. So let's get back to our story and keep these things in mind as we go forward. Oh, we're still moving a little bit. Still thinking. I'll give you another second or two. Great. Okay, thanks. So it looks like software and systems is the favorite, compliance, then skills, behavior, and then product and service knowledge. So it'll be interesting in a minute to think about, just go ahead and start thinking about how might you use e-learning to improve any one of these. And then there'll be a big reveal on the next question. All right, so let's get back to our story. A company that's enhanced their onboarding program. They got such a great response about the new blended learning experience from their employees that they decided to optimize their entire training program. This time they did it a little bit differently. They chose their best training program. So it looks like for a lot of folks that would be the software program, software training. Because they wanted to make it as highly impactful as possible, that best program, in order to provide an optimization target for all the other programs. It became the prototype for the top, for enhancing their program. So So they made sure they offered multiple delivery methods for the greatest engagement by users. This mobile learning is really on the rise. People love to learn while they're on the go. They made sure that they included a variety of assessments, so formative knowledge checks and summative assessments, and a variety of ways of doing that. And they kept the learnings as interactive and various as possible, keeping employees engaged, making sure it was fun, not boring. And they remembered that learners far prefer video to text, and included video wherever possible, boosting engagement levels further. And it just bears thinking that the engagement with the training is part of the engagement with the job. And employee engagement, of course, is very important for corporate success. They added social learning elements, maximizing learner satisfaction, engagement, and impact. And finally, and this is for you, Una, they preserved blended learning, and because that's best practice. To have an optimized learning experience, they'll have both live classroom training and the e-learning. So with this new training program, employees had 24/7 access to the knowledge they needed to do their job, increasing their efficiency. They knew exactly what they needed, where what they needed was. The other company, though, who were already facing the inefficiencies accumulating from those resignations during this time of resignations, continued losing a day's worth of work per employee due to inefficient knowledge sharing. So in a week, I just find the statistics so interesting. In a week, each employee loses a day's worth of work just trying to find the information they need to do their job. When you have an enhanced program with e-learning, that just wouldn't need to happen. So we could see where that's going. Okay, so now we'll engage in some more social learning. So I want, if you would, to think about those skills and how you ranked them. And now choose the top program and share an e-learning enhancement you could add to your best training program for an optimized program, optimization target. What would you do? If someone just gave you a budget and said, go optimize our top program, what would you add? It might take a second to think about it. Interactive learning interface for product and service knowledge. Yes. Learning strategy. Yes. Modern short video, micro-learnings. Short how-to and informational videos. Survey to employees to find out what they'd like to see or what they would find useful and go from there. I love that. Ask the student, ask the learner. That's great. Support bot. Yes. Tutorials with questions and then answer explanations. Yes. Centralized learning content, easy to find and access. Yes. Interactive simulations. Those are so cool. Watching someone do it and then being able to interact and engage with the video, really, really impactful learning. Well, thank you for adding your thoughts there. It's really interesting. Okay, so get